The Confessions of Saint Augustine, Book 4, Chapter 3. Those impostors then, whom they style mathematicians, I consulted without scruple, because they seemed to use no sacrifice, nor to pray to any spirit for their divinations, which are, however, Christian, and who piety consistently rejects and condemns. For it is a good thing to confess unto you and to say, Have mercy upon me, heal my soul, for I have sinned against you. And not to abuse your mercy for a license to sin, but to remember the Lord's words, Behold, you are made whole, sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto you. All which wholesome advice they labor to destroy, saying, The cause of your sin is inevitably determined in heaven. And this did Venus, or Saturn, or Mars, that man forsooth flesh and blood, and proud corruption might be blameless, while the Creator and Ordainer of heaven and the stars is to bear the blame. And who is he but our God, the very sweetness and wellspring of righteousness, who renders to every man according to his works, and a broken and contrite heart will you not despise. There was in those days a wise man, very skilful in physics, and renowned therein, who had, with his own proconsular hand, put the agonistic garland upon my distempered head, but not as a physician. For this disease you only cured, who resist the proud, and give grace to the humble. But did you fail me even by that old man, or forbear to heal my soul? For having become more acquainted with him, and hanging assiduously and fixedly on his speech, for though in simple terms it was vivid, lively, and earnest, when he had gathered by my discourse that I was given to the books of nativity casters, he kindly and fatherly advised me to cast them away, and not fruitlessly bestow a care and diligence necessary for useful things upon these vanities, saying that he had in his earliest years studied that art so as to make it the profession whereby he should live, and that, understanding Hippocrates, he could soon have understood such a study as this. And yet he had given it over and taken to physics for no other reason but that he found it utterly false, and he, a grave man, would not get his living by deluding people. But you, says he, have rhetoric to maintain yourself by, so that you follow this of free choice, not of necessity. The more then ought you to give me credit herein, who labor to acquire it so perfectly as to get my living by it alone. Of whom, when I had demanded, how then could many true things be foretold by it, he answered me as he could, that the force of chance diffused throughout the whole order of things brought this about. For if, when a man be of hazard opens the pages of some poet who sang and thought of something wholly different, a verse oftentimes fell out wondrously agreeable to the present business, it were not to be wondered at if out of the soul of man unconscious what takes place in it by some higher instinct, an answer should be given by hap, not by art, corresponding to the business and actions of the demander. And thus, much either from or through him, you conveyed to me and traced in my memory what I might hereafter examine for myself. But at that time, neither he nor my dearest Nebridius, a youth singularly good and of a holy fear, who divided the whole body of divination, could persuade me to cast it aside, the authority of the authors swaying me yet more, and as yet I had found a certain proof, such as I sought, whereby it might without all doubt appear that what had been truly foretold by those consulted was the result of haphazard and not of the art of the star gazers.